Hey, real quick, do y'all remember this?
But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Because I sure do. And it's been gotten wrong 1,000 times. And most recently, our president got it wrong at his commencement speech at Howard University. Take a look.
Standing in their way into the bright light of day. And a young woman objecting to their presence was killed. And what did you hear? That famous quote when asked about what happened.
So what you're about to hear is an outright lie. And like I said, I played the clip to start off this whole video. So now you know what Biden is talking about. But I highlight this because I'm sick and tired of people getting away with lying about what was said however many years ago. But let's continue and see what Biden has to say, just to be sure that we're correct.
The famous quote, there are very fine people on both sides.
Now let's take a moment and look at the clip in its entire context, because what the media did in that time, right after Charlottesville, is they took a very small clip of what President Trump said at the time and then made it his entire message. But he clarified his words a couple minutes after he originally said them. So it's important to get the whole context here.
You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name. You're changing history, you're changing culture, and you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay?
No one's arguing the fact that President Trump was not the most eloquent of speakers, but the problem becomes is when media and big figureheads start taking what is said out of context, because it completely changes the meaning of what is said. And at this point, we need to start calling out BS when we see it. And President Biden standing up at a commencement speech at Howard University and saying that one thing was said when another thing is said is rage bait, and it's mobilizing people to be even more extreme than they are. Truth is an important component to all of this, and we're getting away from that. We're straying away from real truth, and we're starting to ingest things that just confirm what we want to believe. It's demoralizing people who just want to live a conservative life, who feel that traditional values is the way to go. And because people are allowed to just say things because they feel it should be true, it's causing a greater rift between the parties. Now, this speech was really hard to watch anyway, because I don't want to say that Biden's mental faculties are failing him, but it's quite obvious that it doesn't seem that he wants to be there. He's there reading off of his cue cards. You see, I get the feeling that he is just saying what he's told to say. Now, I think that's what a lot of presidents are told to do, but this just seems a little bit more forced than usual.
That's because hate never goes away. I thought when I graduated we could defeat hate, but it never goes away. It only hides under the rocks. And when it's given oxygen, it comes out from under that rock. And that's why we know this truth as well. Silence is complicity. It cannot remain silent. We have to live through this battle for the soul of the nation.
It really is unfortunate that we've reached this point in history. We've reached a point where just looking a certain way is the problem. Because a man stands in front of a giant audience and says that white supremacy is the cornerstone of the problem in our world today, we are supposed to believe it. Hate is always going to be around. I hate to break it to everyone. If this is your first time joining this channel or waking up and watching a YouTube video, hate is just going to happen. You can't get around it. It doesn't mean we should perpetuate it. It means that we should do everything we can to treat our fellow man the way we would want to be treated. But every now and then, we come to a point where we just can't stand the person across from us. It's okay to have the opinion that you don't like that person. Doesn't mean that you need to dehumanize them. Doesn't mean that we need to treat them with utter and complete disrespect. Just means that we can have our criticisms and move along and probably cast them away from our life. Now, there are the outliers out there who are just despicable human beings that no matter what you do, they're going to be around. There's no eradicating them. But the problem is on a systemic level, you're not going to remove hate. It's just going to be there. The question becomes, how do we navigate life with hate, and how do we use it to better ourselves as individuals and then again as humanity? The interesting part about the world today is that we've been made to believe that every problem is our problem, and that's just simply not the case. But it's always been my philosophy that if you can better and enrich your own life, those circles around you will automatically become more enriched and better for you. The biggest lie being perpetuated right now is that you need to do everything you can to eradicate every single injustice around you. But it's tiring. It doesn't need to happen. People were meant to fight certain causes and will fight certain causes. It doesn't mean you can't care about them. It doesn't mean that you can't fight for what you believe in. But there's very few people out there who are focusing on what really matters. Again, you, your family, your community. Beyond that, most people don't have the mental bandwidth or the know-how to combat injustices on a broad global scale. Stop fighting white supremacy. Start fighting at home. Start fighting for the love of your kids, for the love of your spouse, and for the love of your community. And this stuff will work itself out. And you'll realize that the world is actually a pretty damn great place. Stop believing that you need to fight for every single thing that comes across your Twitter feed, it comes across every single news story. It doesn't need to happen. And furthermore, by the splcenter.org's own admission, much of the momentum behind the neo-Nazi movement or the white supremacist movement continues to come from smaller, more decentralized groups and online social networks with a terroristic focus. Really, all in all, the white supremacy that we're told that we need to worry about is from a very small, immeasurable, and decentralized group. There's not a single rational person out there that wants these things perpetuated, that wants these groups to exist. They're on the downfall. People, by and large, are much better, but focusing on the outliers is not helpful in this situation. Standing up in front of a giant college and saying that this is the number one thing that is wrong or going wrong in America, you're spreading fear to people. You're dividing people, and there's no need to, because we live in the best country in the world, and we live in one of the best times in the world. Folks, if you enjoyed this video or this content in general, please make sure you hit the like button and you hit the subscribe button with a little notification bell, because we put out videos at least once a week, and we have 2 live streams each week on Tuesday and on Wednesday night. I hope you enjoyed. Stay blessed and have a wonderful day.